All right, everybody, I am back with a brand new DC update. And I wanted to do this update a couple of days ago, but just have been too busy, and I'm finally sitting down to get this one done. There have been some casting announcements made for Superman Legacy in regards to some of the characters, and we're going to look at that today, and we're going to talk about how, again, this shows mediocrity. There are no major stars in Superman Legacy. In fact, I think Nathan Fillion is the biggest name in the film, whereas Man of Steel had some pretty big names in it, like Lawrence Fishburne. You had Kevin Costner. There were many big-name people in there to draw people into Man of Steel. Whereas in this movie, there's no big draws, guys. There's just not. And I think they're going to struggle to get people to go to the theater to see this. And we're going to see a couple of instances in today's video where people want Henry Cavill back. And let's take a look at a couple of the things, some of the stuff I have grabbed since my last update. Now, I thought this was pretty funny. This says, a shameful moment. The actor who plays the new Superman, David Corenswet, arrived in Mexico to film some commercials. But the local media, news, and fans referred to him as Henry Cavill, because for them, Superman is Henry Cavill. And I thought that was funny. And he looks, if you were to look at these photos, and you could see they're not super clear, you would think that that was Henry Cavill. You would. They did their best to make him look like Henry Cavill. And it's going to be interesting to see what he actually looks like in the suit when this all gets said and done, because they haven't released it. And hopefully, people were hoping they were going to release the costume today, because today is the anniversary of when first issue of Superman, Action Comics, the first appearance of him, came out. And they were hoping that there was going to be a big announcement today, but there hasn't been so far. On that same note, I didn't grab it. It is a video that is going around Twitter where Henry Cavill is in theaters to promote his new movie coming out on Friday, and people were referring to him as Superman when he was in the room, and everybody was cheering. And so I don't think Warner Brothers realizes how popular Henry Cavill was and how he is a big draw now, and how all they had to do was Man of Steel 2, and they would have had a massive hit on their hands. Instead, we're getting this reboot that just reeks of mediocrity, and we're going to take a look at some stuff. All right, now, this was something that actually came out before my last update, and I didn't have a chance to grab it, and I'm glad somebody reminded me of this. But this is on Zack Snyder's Vero account, and he posted, he said, saw this in my photos today. And it was another shot of Henry Cavill as Superman. He has definitely not moved on. And Zack Snyder has been all over the circuit promoting Rebel Moon 2, and he's talked a lot about, I'll talk about some of the stuff he has talked about here at the end of this video, but people need to go find those clips of him. There's some phenomenal DC-related stuff and questions that he was asked. And this kind of goes back to my last video where I was talking about Ray Porter getting death threats. This Adwin, Lady Adwin, whoever this is, they have been banned from Twitter. And it says, Ray Porter, Darkseid actor, faces death threats from toxic fans amid Snyderverse support, which was some pretty crazy stuff. The fact that there are people that want this to continue. And again, it doesn't harm you in any way if you don't want to see it continue, but there are lots of us who do and feel cheated by the studio. All right, so here's the big first, casting news that came out. We have this actor, Pruitt Taylor Vince. He's a character actor. And I think he does this thing with his eye. If I'm not mistaken, he's this actor with his lazy eye, and he can do some pretty crazy things with it. And I think the last time I saw him was in the movie Fat Man that came out like 4 or 5 years ago. But he's a character actor, and he has been cast as Jonathan Kent, and so Pa Kent. And again, first of all, I don't think this guy is old enough, unless, well, maybe it's going to be a flashback. Who knows? He definitely doesn't look as old as you would expect Pa Kent to look, but we'll see when the movie comes out. I can tell you that the girl playing Martha Kent looks way older. Now, I had to share this today. This actually made me laugh out loud when I saw this. And I don't know who did this, but it still cracks me up, because I could tell you that this character from Marvel, whatever her name is, Captain Marvel, nobody likes this character. I think her powers are ridiculous in the movies. All she does is like crash through, vehicles and destroys them. It's just weird. But at any rate, it shows Henry Cavill's Superman punching her in the face, and just the look on his face is just like, oh, disgust. And I think this is freaking hilarious. But man, the lighting and the suits, this looks pretty cool. Outside of the punch itself, this is pretty funny. Again, here's the comparisons we're getting. It says, name a bigger downgrade. And it said, perfect visual for the fall of DC films. Absolutely. We go from Kevin Costner to this character, or this guy that they chose, this character actor, to play Pa Kent. Now, again, this goes back to what I just hearkened to a few minutes ago and mentioned, that Henry Cavill's James Bond trailer, which is fake, gets 2.3 million views despite being an AI fake. And what's crazy about that is, like I said, people don't realize how popular he is, and how all they had to do was just do Man of Steel 2, and we wouldn't be where we are today. If they would have just continued with that after Black Adam, you'd have happier fans, you'd have a brighter outlook, but no. All right, so here is the girl that they chose to play Martha Kent. She looks more like the age, definitely older than the other guy. Neva Howell. She's been cast as Martha Kent in James Gunn's Superman. She looks a lot like another actress that I know that was like in Dexter, played a psychiatrist who had actually helped kind of pave who Dexter was, but it wasn't her. But she looks a lot like that actor. So this is another character actor that is not really super well known. Well, Henry Cavill has been out promoting his new film. He is reflecting on the post-credit sequence appearances in his career, including Black Adam's. He said, turns out I don't have much luck with post-credit scenes, so I may give up on those. And I thought that was kind of a funny quote, because, a lot of people were railing that because he was in the movie, people should have gone to see it. But people don't go to the movies for a 30-second cameo. They just don't. And I can tell you, Black Adam got a lot more tickets sold because he was in it than had he not been back. And so they did this. Warner Brothers did this as a deception against the audience, just to draw people in to try and sell more tickets, even though they knew they were not going to continue with him. Now, this just got released this morning from James Gunn. James Gunn had a couple of posts, and I didn't grab the other one, but he's also getting a whole bunch more of those Pez dispensers. And I don't know what it is. It's just some weird thing going on with Pez. I don't know if he has some kind of a promotional deal going on with them, but this is one of the most staged photos I have ever seen. It says, on this day in 1938, the first superhero entered our atmosphere via the imaginations of Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. He gave us someone to believe in, not because of his great physical power, but because of his character and determination to do right no matter what. Happy Superman Day to all of you. It's also because of his great physical power. To diminish that, you'd be fooling yourself. But they're each reading, we've got James Gunn with the original issue, and you've got David Cornsweet reading another issue of Action Comics, but I don't know which one. And I was hoping that this was going to give us some clue as to the movie, but it doesn't. Now, while Zack Snyder has been out there making the rounds, he says, Zack Snyder says he had a conversation with Leonardo DiCaprio about playing Lex Luthor in Batman vs. Superman. He has a lot of great ideas. I think he's the one who brought up the idea of Superman fighting the Justice League in our convos. And, Leonardo DiCaprio, I think, could actually pull that character off. He can have this kind of maniacal look to him when he scowls a little bit. So I could see him playing Lex Luthor. All right, guys, so there you have it. All the stuff from today. While Zack Snyder's been out making the rounds, he's talked a little bit about what would have happened had they continued with Justice League 2 and 3. He gave a little bit of insight into Batman and Superman themselves and the journey that they were on. There's some pretty fascinating stuff in those interviews. So those are going on currently because of Rebel Moon 2. And if you're not on Twitter checking some of that stuff out, you really should be. You can go in there and do hashtags for Zack Snyder, and you can see that his stuff is getting way more buzz than anything James Gunn is doing. And I have a feeling that they're going to reveal something big in regards to Superman Legacy, or Superman, because of Rebel Moon getting released tomorrow, but we will see. I think they'd be wise to steer clear of it. They don't want to embarrass themselves. All right, guys, so there's my update for the day. I do appreciate the support. We will see you on the next video.